Welcome in, everybody, to the JM Sports Show. Live here on this Monday, the 7th of August, 2018, 6th of August, rather, 2018. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. I'm reporting live from California, where all my good little studios is, and I'm going to be discussing a lot today on the program. We will be discussing the NFL. Training camps have been underway. We even had the Hall of Fame game this weekend, and week 1 of preseason coming up. I believe Thursday will be the first games for week 1 of preseason as teams get underway there. We'll be discussing the terrible situation over at Ohio State with Urban Meyer and the fallout that could be there and the potential impact on not only the university, also on college football in general. If this goes where I think it's going, we'll discuss that more later. We'll also discuss baseball as we just passed the trading deadline and some of the stuff that went down there. So heading into this, let's get started with kind of the big story, and that is Urban Meyer over at Ohio State. Meyer was had an assistant coach that was accused by his wife of domestic violence. Apparently, she told the wives of several of the other coaches, including Coach Urban Meyer. He is now under investigation by the university, which is expected to be completed within the next 14 days, but has been placed on administrative leave in the meantime. As former SEC investigator Mary Jo White will lead the not SEC as in the Southeast Conference. I'm talking about the government SEC, as in the ones that investigate tax fraud and all that. Will be former head of that will be investigating the incident. So Zach Smith was the name of the coach, who was an assistant there, and now it seems as if he had some sense of knowledge of knowing that one of his assistants was engaging in this type of behavior and did not report it. Of course, this comes on the heels of 2 other Big Ten schools having trouble. Of course, you can think back a few years ago, now about 6-7 years ago, to what happened at Penn State. And what happened at Penn State was with the Joe Paterno knowing about the abuse that was done at the hands of that monster Jerry Sandusky to those hundreds of kids. We saw the same thing with the gymnasts at Michigan State. And there was even some rumors that the head basketball coach, Tom Izzo, and the head football coach, Mark D'Antonio, had some knowledge there. Now, that hasn't been proven. You don't want to besmirch anyone's name, but there were some rumors that they knew what was going on in the athletic department with that Dr. Larry Nassar. So this is a very much similar situation. We had abuse going on by an assistant, where the head coach knew about it, and Urban has been very successful. He won a pair of national titles at Florida. He's won a title at Ohio State, has turned them into, they were always a great team, but they're now consistently a college football playoff contender, usually in it or at least in a New Year's Six bowl. So he's turned that team into a perennial contender. So, of course, the Ohio State faithful are now on it and trying to defend their head coach from these accusations. So Very ugly situation. We'll have to see how it turns out when this investigation concludes in the next couple of weeks. Now, I think this is a big deal for recruiting. In college football, obviously, the main role head coach, or one of the main roles of the head coach, is to be that recruiter. And Urban Meyer has been a master recruiter ever since even his days at Utah, turning that program into a powerhouse in the Mountain West and precipitating them coming over to the Pac-12. I think it was very much because of Urban Meyer's successes. He turned Florida from a kind of mediocre team in the mid-2000s into a two-time national champion winner with quarterbacks Chris Leak and then, of course, Tim Tebow. And then he briefly retired and then headed up to his alma mater at Ohio State and has been very successful, as I've mentioned, in turning that team into a powerhouse with the recruiting that he's been able to do, getting NFL talent to come to Columbus. You can think of all the players that have gone through Ohio State in the last couple of years. You think Joey Bosa, you think Nick Bosa, his brother, that are either in the NFL or seemingly on the way to the NFL. J.T. Barrett, Ezekiel Elliott. So a lot of guys that have come into that program and been successful. Now, Urban's also had some controversies in his past because he's had troubled athletes. Florida, you can certainly think of Aaron Hernandez, who have come into that program and have still have a little bit of a sketchy past and even may still do bad things. And he's very much like just a little slap on the wrist to the players that do those things. So, and in Ohio State, you have Ezekiel Elliott in that whole situation that obviously blew up last year with the NFL handing him down a 6-game suspension for an incident that had happened 2 years prior when he was just at Ohio State. And you can imagine there were probably incidences at Ohio when he was enrolled at the university. So now an assistant coach with this accusation and this story is blowing up and certainly not looking too good for the Buckeyes there. So we'll have to see how it turns out. Obviously, and the least concern should be the football side of it. But I'm a sports guy. That's just what I do. I cover sports, and so you look at what sports are and what they mean to people. And sometimes it means a little bit too much because you have these fans who are defending something that shouldn't be defended. If anyone knows that domestic violence, they should report it. But I also want to see the sports side and how it affects this program because there's a lot of money in these programs that the on-field performance certainly is a big part of the money that comes to these universities. So we'll have to see what happens there with that situation. Now, the second story I'm going to cover, NFL training camps are underway. I did an NFC East preview. It's now time for the AFC East preview. I'm going to go through it a little bit quickly. I think the Patriots are going to win the division. I think Tom Brady and the Patriots are still the team to beat in the division. Now, in the AFC, I have some questions, and we'll cover that on later shows when we get into the other AFC divisions. I think the Dolphins will be number 2. I think the Bills will take a bit of a step back and finish 3rd. And the Jets, first year Sam Darnold, I think will finish 4th. But 2 rookie quarterbacks in that division. It should be fun to watch with Sam Darnold in New York and with, obviously, with Josh Allen in Buffalo. And if out of all the rookie quarterbacks, Josh Allen will be the first to start because obviously the quarterback ahead of him is the infamous Nathan Peterman, who threw 5 interceptions in that one game and has struggled early on in his NFL career. All right, so the second, in and out baseball, some trade deadline news and notes. Red Sox are going to win the American League East. I think that was pretty much confirmed as they continue to ride high and look to break all sorts of records. And they pick up Ian Kinsler, who goes straight to the DL practically. And they pick up Nathan Eovaldi at the deadline. And there's still been some moves as we're now in the waiver deadline period, which I believe is August 31st. So we're still seeing some trades then, but the non-waiver deadline is passed, and some teams have gotten stronger. Brewers made some big moves, picking up Mike Moustakas from Kansas City. Obviously, the big move in LA, bringing in Manny Machado, bringing in you have Zach Britton going to the Yankees. You have Chris Archer going to the Pirates. You have a lot of moves that have gone down in the last few days. So we'll certainly have to see how that turns out for baseball as we move into the dog days of summer here in August, and then the pennant races in September, which are heating up. So weather heats up, man. It is hot. I'm sure wherever you are across the country, it's about 90 degrees here in San Diego, California. Even hotter inland. It was hot in New Jersey. It's hot everywhere. So stay cool. Hit a pool, beach, lake, wherever you may go to cool off. Cooling center. Stay hydrated, all that good stuff. Football season right around the corner. Really quickly on the Hall of Fame, T.O. I'm a big fan of T.O. I'll preface it with that, but man, not a good look. Not showing up to the Hall of Fame. He can do whatever he wants. It's his day, but there's some of the things he said and the way he went about it made it seem kind of just one more controversy. And then he's working out with the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the CFL. Speaking of CFL, Johnny Manziel, disastrous opening there. So I'm going to do something special sometime in the future, hopefully this week. I'm going to do a future sports. It's not going to be so much daily stuff, unless something big happens, like in the Urban Meyer case or whatever. But we're going to do, at some point, probably my next one, future sports. What will sports look like in 20 years? I've kind of had some thoughts and some preparations involved. So I'm looking really forward to sharing those thoughts with you guys. Follow me here on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel down below. Follow me on Twitter at jmoney18c. And also, just do those things. See you guys next time. Thank you so much for tuning into the JM Sports Show. Peace.